Hi, I'm Robin. Thank you for tuning in. This is our multi-part series on anxiousness, associative anxiety disorder, and subclinical anxiety. Now, anxiousness is something that's extremely prevalent in modern society, especially in the last few months. We've had a lot of patients, a lot of adults actually as well, who experience different degrees of anxiousness and anxiety. So we thought it's a good opportunity to talk about it because it's impacting people not just emotionally and psychologically, but it's also related to stress and physical symptoms in people's bodies. So in this video, we'll talk a little bit about just not particularly scientifically, but just the basics of how I differentiate between those terms and how that's relevant for the work that we're doing with people as well. So there's different categories of people, some who either grow up in an environment that's conducive to it or over life develop different strategies to just allow anxiety to be what it is and experience it in their physiology, and other people, due to circumstances or just predisposition or just because that's the way it is, do not have the privilege to develop the same strategies in their body and in their nervous system. So in a person who does have strategies for it, what happens is they experience anxiousness. Everybody does, and as the anxiousness builds and increases, it reaches a certain threshold, and that person who does have the strategies in place then recognizes, oh, yep, I'm getting anxious. They then have the ability in their body to allow the anxiousness to build up. That's the nature of that feeling, of that emotion, and it's building up and it's building up in their physiology, and they can allow it to build up all the way to the peak point of intensity, and then just like a wave, once it's reached that point, it naturally subsides again, and then it goes away. Just like happiness builds up and peaks and goes away, and sadness builds up and peaks and goes away. Just like any other sensation or emotion, they're able to really let that go through their physiology, build up, and then subside again. Now, somebody who doesn't have the same strategies, they will also feel the anxiousness come on. Then it will reach a certain threshold, 10%, 15%, 20%, and then they recognize, oh my God, it's happening again, and I just can't deal with that, and I can't allow that to get any bigger than that, because that's their maximum of being able to tolerate it in their physiology. So that person then has to, like in a pressure cooker, put the lid on it, but due to the nature of the anxiousness, it's still something that keeps building and keeps building and keeps building because it wants to reach that peak point of intensity, but that person is not able to allow that to happen. So it keeps building and building, and it's creating that background noise and pressure and discomfort in the physical body that then leads to signs and symptoms, and it's dramatically impacting quality of life. And for somebody who does have the same strategies, those are the people that are common, well, either just don't be anxious, or I don't know what you're talking about, just allow it to go through. The difference is, if you can't relate to that, I want you to imagine it's as similar as being able to swim or not being able to swim. If you're going in the water and you can swim, if you're on a kayak or something like that, and even if you do fall in the water, you get cold and you get wet, and it's like, oh my God, it's annoying and it's embarrassing, but you are able to get out of the water. You are able to swim and dry yourself off and throw a little tantrum and then move on with your life and with your day. Somebody who can't swim and they're in the water and they fall out of the kayak, that's a potentially life-threatening situation, and all the terror and panic that comes with it. It's very similar to not being able to have strategies to deal with feelings of anxiousness, for example. So this is kind of, if you can't relate to it, an example I would like to give you to make more sense of it as well. So what we can do with people, we can slowly build, to the somatic work that we're doing here, slowly build up that tolerance and teach the nervous system and teach that person to build up that threshold, so that even somebody who doesn't have the strategies, then through upgrading their nervous system, being able to build it up and increase the threshold. So if it was 10%, 15% at the beginning, build it up to 20%, 25, 30, 40, 50, 75, until sometimes for the first time in somebody's life, they're able to really experience the wave of anxiousness, the wave of anxiety, to build to its peak point of intensity and then subside naturally again. And if we get somebody to the neurological milestone, this is something that stays for life as well. Obviously, as the feelings of anxiousness increase, the capacity to deal with it has to increase as well, but it's something that can be trained and experienced as well. And when we're talking about subclinical anxiety, this is where it's reaching the point where it has a significant impact on people's quality of life and to really impact different areas and impact the physiology, but often not bad enough that that person who is impacted by it actually would consider seeking external help or seeing a therapist or something like that. So this is kind of a bit of a brief introduction. It's something that's completely natural, and if you had the privilege to be able to develop those strategies and learn that, it's something that's not particularly going to impact you. But if that's not the case, there are options to deal with that. This might be a different approach. If you're curious about that, how we might be able to help, again, it's a complex topic. It might not be specifically appropriate for you, but in either case, we're either going to be able to make an assessment and then refer you to somebody who can, or help you here in the clinic. I hope that you found this helpful. Watch out for the other videos of that series that are going to go into more depth and detail, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you soon for an assessment here. My name is Robin, and I look forward to seeing you soon.